Now, granted, he has roughly the same amount of units that I did as far as anti-air goes. Except Phoenixes are quite efficient early on in the game against Void Rays, only because the Void Rays don't do much damage to him, and also they have shorter range than Void Rays, or close to it. They always tend to get up right in front. Yep, one range difference. So his Void Rays, unless if he's sitting there microing them and making sure that he's clicking on my Void Rays, are going to end up shooting the Phoenixes. So if you're getting somebody else who's going another air composition like this, I've had many games where I've just literally added a couple Phoenixes in, and the fact that they produce a hell of a lot quicker lets you win a quick air war against somebody who plays super greedy and also goes for an air composition like this. At this point in the game, I know the fact that Teal kind of went out of his way, and I haven't seen him scout me at all, is going to signify to me that he is going to be probably aggressive towards me the rest of the mission. So I am done worrying about red for now. Whatever, he's going air, not a big deal. I'm going air. You know, in time, assuming that my micro and everything, and I can get maxed out later on in the game, I don't have to worry too much about him maxing up there. I've already done it. So, might as well use the Oracle that I had left over here, just to do a little extra damage. And I believe it's shortly after this I actually end up getting another Oracle. At least I thought I did. But one thing you always want to make sure you're doing is just continuously making probes. Now, granted, my chrono boost is kind of high. I haven't been focusing too much on my macros since I've been trying. I was initially trying to take red out because his one cannon and like late void rays he had out, I think getting Teals back here and kind of trying to do some more damage. And Stalkers aren't particularly cost efficient against Void Rays and Heart of the Swarm, but because I already got my Warp Gate research and everything, they are very easy to produce a whole bunch real quick. So right now I'm just trying to focus on getting as much gas out as I can. Because if anything, I want to try and max out roughly the same time as Teal or before him. So right around the time that you take your third base, you should usually have a +1 done for your air weapons. And then you want to be moving towards +2 as your base is finishing up, as you start getting 6 gas. Once you have 6 gas geysers up, then throw down the fleet beacon. Do not bother throwing this down beforehand, because if you're producing void rays constantly, as long as you, kind of line it up so as soon as one's finishing, you're starting another one up, you're not going to have a whole lot of gas to go around to basically make, whatever air upgrade you have here, plus make out of 3 Stargates. And once I kind of get a little bit closer to 8 gas, I can do it on 6 gas, but once I get closer to 8 gas, that's when I'm going to throw down 2 more Stargates. But at least for the meantime, I have basically Warp Gates to kind of use up some of my resources, my max. Ended up shooting my Phoenixes, which made me get just a slight lead in Void Ray count there briefly. And I think the one thing I do have an advantage is my other base here much further ahead, and that is another big difference. Alright, so let's just go to my perspective here. Let's kind of keep an eye on what I can see. So I'm getting to the point where I'm getting close to max now. So soon, I noticed that he's put up a pylon over here, so he's going to try and take his base. And I know that since I've just beaten him 2 fights in a row, there's no way he's going to be able to hold that base. I might not be able to kill him, because there's a good chance he's going to have some cannons in his team, but I can definitely, pick off a couple of buildings here or there, and I can also, ideally, deny this. Now, I'm adding in Tempests at this point in the game because Tempests are going to give me the range so I can kind of harass these buildings, and also the fact that I'm assuming the red is probably going carriers. Just based on how many cannons he got up, and, based on what I perceive his level of play is. That's just kind of my idea of why I'm going to here. I'm adding a couple more units. I'm not too worried about having the perfect composition at this point. I just want to try and get maxed out so that I can basically deny suspension to Teal, because I know he's going to be a thorn in my side all game. So I want to try and deal with him as quickly as possible here, and without what happens a lot of times is one of these players will just be like, oh, teal died. Well, I know purple, I'm not fighting purple, and I haven't seen purple move out, so therefore I'll just go kill blue who just killed teal. And if you waste your whole army and you're sitting there with like 20 army supply after the fight, that's a good way to lose a free-for-all. It's not 1v1 where, it doesn't matter how many units you have left at the end of a fight. Once you're down to the last 10 games, you always have some kind of army supply left. So at this point, since I know Teal's kind of turtled up and he's kind of hiding back there, I was just like, alright, well, how about you call here? That'll look bad. And usually when you take out a player's expansion like this, they're usually on tilt. They're going to go all in right here, just like he is. So at this point in the game, if we take a look at army value, we're pretty even right here. I mean, I have maybe a little bit more mineral value. He's got a little bit more gas value. So if you do look though, my upgrades are just slightly better than his. And this is actually basically what's going to make all the also back to a lot of damage soaked up. And also the fact that putting on overcharge kind of prematurely by trying to take out my next one. You need to pull back to the base afterwards until you can max out, or at least until your next photon overcharges up. So that was kind of a mistake trying to fight me after that, because at that point I still had to use my photon overcharge, because this thing doesn't last forever. It lasts 20 seconds. It's got a 60-second cooldown. But if he had killed my Nexus and pulled back, his cooldown's probably up by the time I get to over to his base. Alright, and let's go ahead and take a look at my infrastructure here. So at this point, this is when I've added in extra Stargates. So I usually go up to about 6 once I have a fully saturated 4 base economy. It's more the gas that you need than anything else. Right here, I'm also going to get Storm, because especially when I have a player like this who's going heavy on Void Rays, if he continues going mass Void Ray production, the number one way that you're going to beat him in a fight, at least cost efficiently without wasting a whole lot of minerals and gas, is by having a couple storms. Because if he sits under the storms, that 2 supply Templar is going to do a hell of a lot more damage than a 5 or 6 supply Void Ray, whatever it is. Oh, it's 4 supply. Okay. So at this point in the game, he ends up just leaving. Even though I'm not sure why he didn't just continue to try and fight it out. But that's fine. So once you ever get to this situation in the game where you've just eliminated somebody, don't be trigger happy and be like, alright, I killed him, now this is like 1v1, I just go eliminate everybody else. No, you should be sitting back, assessing the situation, figure out, okay, what do the other players have at this point? How many bases are they on? Can I safely take another base? This is the point when you want to start building your bank up. Because if we look at how much money I have and the supply I have, so I'm close to maxed out, and I got 2,000 gas. Yeah, he's roughly the same supply, but he's got a hell of a lot more gas, and pretty soon he's going to have more minerals than I do, and he's been maxed out for a while, and he's also sitting on a much larger bank than I do. So there's it's nice to have all this production and everything, but if I don't have enough of a bank to basically be producing out of all these facilities, there's no point for me to go and just throw my army away when there's 2 players left in the game. Because if you ever get in a situation where it's a 3-way, where there's 2 other players left, you generally want to try and make it that you don't have to fight unless if you can either cost efficiently win it, or else you're fighting for resources or you're beating. Those are one of the few times when you should actually move out. So from here